Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and we're doing the discussion for Star Wars the Deckbuilding game, which is surprisingly in a very tiny box from what I expected it to be. But I think everyone and their mom was like, rolled their eyes when this game was announced, which I feel like is kind of a trend with Fantasy Flight. Every game they announce, everyone's like, ugh, like, geez. But I think the consensus for the most part was people liked it as they actually started playing it, because it's like really another deck builder, another Star Wars game. And I feel like I would actually align with that train of thinking. I'm kind of like another deck builder. It does some unique stuff, like, but overall, like, I'm not super wowed by it. I don't think it's a bad game by any means, but I wasn't like riveted throughout the game. But you are like the Star Wars fan of my channel, so what are your overall thoughts on it?
Well, I love the theme of it, obviously.
Sure.
I mean, it's kind of a weird mix of themes, though, because it's not like based on any general time span of it. They've mixed a lot of
it's Star Wars
stuff.
Just Star Wars.
Yeah, so there's nothing really cohesive about the when and where they're pulling stuff from.
It's not a thematic game.
Right. It's
you just have people.
I mean, because when this was announced, I was just like, eh.
Yeah.
You know, because I even being a Star Wars person, I was like, I don't. And then I was like, it's cheap. You know.
Yeah.
I heard fairly positive things about it, so I was like, I'll just nab it.
It's a head-to-head game, like.
Yeah, and head-to-head deck builders. I mean, I prefer my deck builders to almost be co-op anymore.
Yeah, because you're not dicked over by the randomness, or you are, but it's like we're sharing in how random this is.
Because on Aeon's End, you can help each other out. Like if somebody has a shitty hand, you can assist them.
Yeah,
you know, and help them out in different ways.
Or you almost have to have other things in a competitive deck builder game. It can't just be pure, because the ones there's the ones on top. Star Realms, Hero Realms is mainly played probably through their story, but Star Realms for sure is just. It's the best head-to-head co-op or deck builder. And
I think the one thing I dislike about the head-to-head deck builders like this is there is no really once the train's going, you can't stop the train.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's with any deck, and not just this one in particular, but that we kind of had that in this a little bit, like where it's once the force goes one way on that force track, it's hard to get it back unless you're getting cards that do that. Like I had two cards that messed with it. I mean, we could buy those.
To exile them.
Still and stuff, but it's like once the train gets going and you get that deck humming, then there's nothing that can be done. And it could have just as easily been me doing it.
Exactly.
Like it wasn't just because the Empire's overpowered. It's not.
No.
It was just how it came out and how the cards were bought.
I think the game is balanced. The only other game, which these aren't even close to being the same game, but like Star Wars Rebellion, where I don't feel like it's balanced. This one is like, here's the thing though, is like you have the Rebels and you have the Empires, yet I don't feel like they're differentiated enough to make it feel like, oh, I'm really playing the Empire, or oh, I'm really playing the Rebels.
Right.
Like early on in the game we just played, Darth Vader was out at the beginning. And there are things about this that I do like, where it's not like, oh, Darth Vader's out, guess I'm never getting him. Because for you to remove him, you also have to get 8 attack, which is not happening really anytime soon. So now it kind of becomes a race of, can I get 8 resources to purchase him before you can get 8 damage to destroy him. But early on, it was like, okay, Vader was out from the beginning, and then Luke came out. So now it's kind of like, oh, okay, who can jockey who to get the best card of each faction in the game, and you got Luke out first because of a base ability, and I did the exact same thing. So it's kind of like, okay, well, that just feels kind of lame, where I just I get Vader the exact same way you got Luke, just like a turn later.
And what was Vader's like? His resource
6 damage and 2 force.
So see, he's better than Luke then, because I guess potentially better than Luke, because you could do 10 damage if the force was on your side.
With me. Yeah,
if
and
the
because
force was on my side, my stats stayed the same. I just got rid of a capital ship. So I guess but it's worthless because a lot of time early in the game, whenever I was doing them, you never had a capital ship.
Yeah, so you just you kind of be like, oh, you have Luke, okay,
but you can always get the 10 damage as long as you have the force that way. So it's like,
and because he gets 2, unless you keep it completely on you, but then I can just play cards like, oh, I'm going to do this, exile him, pull it, get my Imperial whatever, Inquisitor, to get another force, and then, playing Darth Vader, because 4 force gets it onto your side.
Oh, yeah.
So
I would say the best things about this, the unique things, if you're looking for something about this that differs it from like a Ascension or stuff like that, is when the cards come out, they face the Empire or the deal, because then they have the 2 values: the attack, the bounty hunt value that you can kill them, that you get a reward, or they can hire them. That's unique and kind of cool, because it kind of makes it. I mean, you could end up with a board like how it is right now, where it's all you.
Well, that's the thing.
Except for actually, these should be turned.
Oh,
because
they're neutral.
But
it's here's the thing. It is unique. I wouldn't necessarily say it's cool, because the rewards for removing them I find to be extremely basic. Because, for example, having Director Krennic, for example, is really good for me. He costs 5, he gives me 3 attack, 2 resources, and I get to draw a card. 2, if my base is the Death Star. Okay, well that's kind of unique. But what you get for removing him is 3 resources and 2 force. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And if they're all like this, well, let's say these 3 were mine. These, like, and so the whole what is wrong? Galaxy Room. Let's say these all were mine. You removing him to get 3 purchasing power. Oh, and now you still can't buy anything. It's like,
and that's the deck builder thing. I mean, that's the randomness you come with that deck. I will say, I have played one other game that did where you could destroy the cards, but you did it and you never got anything. Okay. So at least this one has at
least you get something.
Yeah, where it has something for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was cool. The force track.
It
needs to be. This was in a review I saw and I agreed with them, so I'm going to kind of steal it from them. It almost needs to be a little bit longer with steps in the middle.
Oh, kind of like a seven
kind of like that, where there's like you get more of it. Like, so if you just kept ramping it and it gets all the way to your side on like a 15, 16 length thing, then you have all of it.
Yeah, you have all the force.
Right, but if it's like that held, because once it's over there, I mean, it's 1 resource extra.
That's it.
I mean, I know it does make a difference in a deck building game, but by the end of the game, it's like our decks are getting big enough. You were just buying stuff. It's like I'm just worried about.
I mean, honestly, the force track is there for the card abilities.
Some cards that have that,
and I was actually surprised that a lot more cards did do stuff extra, like Director Krennic is. Hey, if your base is the Death Star, you get to draw 2 cards. Well, that's pretty good. If Darth Vader, for example, if the force is in your favor, you get 4 extra attack. That's 10 damage. So there is kind of a reason to jockey for the force. But I would agree. I would rather have a longer force track with not an auto win thing, because that would just be dumb.
It where it makes it more. You do not want it to be at that end.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's oh man.
Because some of these, and the reason I was questioning because when it meant the force was on your side, because initially I was like, well, that means doesn't mean it's when it's all the way over here.
It's completely over on yours.
But then that would be. You'd really be fighting it then, because there's no difference in what happens for you, whether it's on the first spot or the final spot. Right. Like you're still going to get the abilities. It's just trying to play defense at that point.
Yeah.
These planets is the other thing.
That's probably my favorite thing about this
being
game.
Able to choose. Now, are you going to choose the same 4 every single time? Maybe.
Probably not.
I mean, I know there's 3 of mine that I would play every single time because
I the only reason I picked the Death Star was not because it had 16, because I have a few, like Rhodia has 16, Endor has 16, Coruscant has 16. So I didn't pick it based off of its value. It was because my hand happened to be a bunch of resources.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I don't want to purchase anything, and you have a bunch more ships than I do. And it's the Death Star. Like, why the fuck would I not be like, boom, haha!
Yeah.
And it's honestly the only reason I won the game. But there were some others I was constantly looking at. There was one that was about, where was it? For each enemy card in the Galaxy row, you deal a damage. And there was a turn, whenever it was my turn to pick, that there were like 4 out of the 6 here that was there, but you had Hoth out. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a waste to pick. Now, granted, it does damage and then it gets rid of all of them.
Did you have one that did like Hoth, where the 2 damage? Okay, so that was another difference, because I was curious how the deal was, because like,
and that is the thing that's kind of disappointing about these planets is, again, there's not enough in this game to make you really feel, besides theme. Like if you're aware of Star Wars at all, that's the only thing that will make you feel like the Empire is you being like, I have Darth Vader. You can never have Darth Vader, but it's like, in terms of mechanics, you're just playing a deck builder. And the planets, most of them are identical.
Yeah, there's several that were the same.
Out of the 10. I guess 9 you get to pick from, because you always start with one.
And we played with the, whatever that was called, the whole galaxy.
The full galaxy.
Full galaxy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways you can just, where it tells you which ones to start with. And
yeah, there's, where it's set up, it's like, start with these 5. There's another variant you can play where, like, you pick your 4, and then you set, and it's secret, so it's like, that's kind of a strategy of like, and I feel like that might be kind of cool to play it that way, because then it's like, okay, here's the strategy I'm going to kind of go for.
Right.
Like, if I pick the one that's all about my vehicles and my troopers getting an extra, like, Endor, each trooper and vehicle gets an extra attack. Well, that, because I know that's one of my limited planets, that might be a build I'm going for. But here's the thing. If you don't have a bunch of deck builders, or you're just now getting into deck building, I basically have no complaints on this.
It's just basic. I mean,
it is basic.
Like, at this point, you and I have played enough deck builders that this is just
another one.
This is like Dominion of
But I would much rather play Dominion over this, because Dominion has a million expansions.
Well, right. I mean, if you're talking just core box,
even then I might probably pick Dominion.
I would probably just do this because of the theme.
The theme, yeah.
Different.
And I'm not into Star Wars really at all.
But
here's the thing: this game, the size of the box actually worries me, because it's like, are they going to do expansions? You would think it's Fantasy Flight and this IP, but that is a tiny box.
Yeah.
Like with Marvel Champions, when that came out, it was standard size box, but it's like, oh, there's a bunch of room in here. They're going to make more. Here, I'm like, you can't really fit anything in that box.
Yeah, with them sleeved, it fills the entire thing out. And what's interesting is, because I own a lot, and I've played a lot of Star Wars Destiny. Their dice card CCG thing that they did a few years back, and like these the card layout, like if you look at a card like this, except for the bounty hunter thing at the bottom, like these are Destiny cards.
Okay.
Like the way that the resources are placed, the art, some of this art even looks the same.
So you think that they just realized that the dice system of Destinies is what caused it to fail, so they took Destinies and made it.
I don't think that's necessarily feel after that announcement a few weeks ago of them having the Star Wars CCG coming out.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that.
So I don't know. I think this was almost just like, hey, let's put out something that's really cheap to manufacture. Throw some cubes in there. Throw some cards in there. Throw a flimsy ass force track in there.
Yeah.
And then put it out, and we'll sell enough to
cover the cost of our failed other projects.
This had to have been so cheap to make. I mean, because I'm telling you,
well,
they say this art is recycled.
They recycle
from Destiny, and
they recycle art
like
from all their IPs, like Lord of the Rings games is shared art.
So it's not like they had to pay for more art. It's cheap to make cards, and they threw generic purple and yellow cubes in. and they even made the box small.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it was just something. I would be surprised if there were not any expansion, or if there were expansions.
Yeah.
I think they just did this. They announced the CCG. It's like, why would they put more out for this when they're going to want to push for that CCG? Because that's what they're wanting to make money with that.
That's true.
But as a simple little deck builder, though, as a one shot, for a Star Wars fan, said that's easy to learn. There's not a lot of text to these cards. It's not like it's difficult.
No, I mean, you do get enough. Like our decks did. I mean, obviously with a deck builder, and you don't go a route of culling your deck. Your decks do get kind of fat. There are ways to exile quite a bit. I mean, hell, I even had a base that let me do a bunch of that.
Gets rid of 3 cards. Yeah.
Wow, is it
another card that's the same? Yes.
Yeah. But you do get cool combos. Like like you had one where you were able to, like, you purchased a bounty hunter, played a card that got him back in, and then you're like, anyway, I have 14 damage. Well, I guess I'll just one shot your planet. And I'm like, because the Empire starts, so I was like, that's probably an advantage in a race game. And then you wipe the planet, and I'm like, I might lose.
Yeah, that was my one big play.
Game. And I'm like, oh, now I'm playing catch up. But then I had enough with the Death Star, and so there is enough back and forth. Again, I don't think this is a bad game by any means, but man, I think you're onto something though about them just throwing this out there just to
it explains the box size.
It does.
I mean, why spend? I mean, it's so much cheaper. You could get so many more units in a case.
Yeah.
For that size, just to throw it out.
And this game does beg for expansions, but again, kind of like what you were saying, there's no overall theme. They didn't pick an era in Star Wars. So you have Mandalorian in here.
Rogue One.
You have Rogue One. I guess, sorry, you don't have Mandalorian.
No.
You have Rogue One. You have, I guess...
you have the original trilogy.
That's it.
4, 5, 6, and you have Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah.
I mean, that's really the era.
True. That is true.
Of it, because you have Cassian Andor and...
Yeah, I don't think Fantasy Flight is dumb enough to try and do the sequel trilogy. Because it's like, why would we buy that?
That'll be on the CCG.
Yeah.
The CCG is going to range from everywhere, just like Destiny did, I think.
It should.
I think it's going to be everywhere. I'm going to probably buy the starter set.
Is that competitive, the CCG?
Yeah.
It is? Oh, then it'll fail.
Yeah.
They're
trying to do the jump into the whole Magic, and with Disney doing the Lorcana. I don't know if you.
Well, they're getting sued.
Well, right, but I mean the plant with them doing it.
Yeah.
There's these things trying to take out Magic, which will never happen. But
no, there's no way.
Flesh and Blood.
I think Magic is actually getting Lord of the Rings IP, so it's like, that's kind of crazy. If you've never played a deck builder before and you love Star Wars, then check it out. It does some unique things. None of them are groundbreaking. Again, my favorite thing is the planets. I do like that. It's not just like a race to destroy one. If it gets destroyed, then it's kind of like, what's the best one for my situation? I guess I'll pick this one.
Right.
Or you're doing a lot of damage. I should pick one that has a high threshold. But if you're experienced with deck building and you have quite a few that you really like, I don't think this game really offers much in terms of being like, wow, oh my god, this is so different. So that's kind of like Star Wars deck building in a nutshell. What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I've been thinking about this while you've been talking. I don't know, like an average score, like...
I mean, average for me is 5.
Well, the average for me as a teacher is 70%. Like,
yeah, I guess that's true.
So like, I would probably say
that's accurate. Yeah. So I guess a 7 for you.
So 6.5.
Like if you were grading this, would you give this a 70? Would you be like, yeah, you know what?
6.5 to 7 is what I would probably put. Like it, but if you are relatively new, you like Star Wars, you want to get into deck builders, then this is I would say a high recommend. If you're just getting into it and you're a Star Wars fan,
that's true.
If you're a seasoned gamer and you've been through the deck building genre a lot, then this is pretty basic.
Yeah. Or if you're looking for that deck builder that you've been like, because like for me, I hated deck builders when I first got in the hobby, and now I enjoy most of them. But these kinds of games, it's like if you have everything. I mean, I would recommend Star Realms over this.
I would too. That just gets really the one I do like Star Realms better.
Yeah.
But as far as for that opening people coming in, having all the factions and all that, it's a lot more convoluted in a good way. If you're used to those things, it's good.
Yeah.
This is a very scaled down Star Realms.
That's true. Actually,
because of the bases blocking and stuff. But like in Star Realms, you play the greens, they can bounce off and make you these massive.
And you have your ships out that can still combo off.
Yeah, so there's a lot more to it, even though that's
even base Star Realms is probably more complex than this.
Yeah. So,
but base Star Realms, even years later, because I just played that. Even after playing tons of other deck builders, Star Realms still holds up.
Yeah,
this one is like, all right.
Yeah,
the art's great. So 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
I'm at a 6. Like, it is a slightly above average game. I didn't have a bad time with it. I wasn't sitting here thinking this was like painfully average. It was just kind of, I did enjoy the base stuff. I never felt a need to destroy any of your cards because I didn't like anything. It wasn't cool. It felt more like, I just don't want you to have that more than what I get out of it. And I find that to be more hate drafting or hate whatever you want to call it. Me being like, I'm going to when I did destroy your X-Wing because I wanted the resources at that given time. But for a majority of the game, it was like, I don't really care who you get. Like, clearly the big names. Like, if Luke is out there, I clearly don't want you to have him. Chewie, Han, which I'm assuming Han's in here.
Yeah, but there's also cards that you get that get bonuses if you kill a card in the middle, like these two.
Yes.
So, like, if you kill something in the middle, then you get an extra bonus on top of the rewards. So,
yeah,
they do a good job of throwing those in.
Yeah, one of mine was I don't remember what it was called. It was kind of like a Greedo, where it's like, hey, he has 2 attack, but he gets 2 more if you attack something in the middle.
Right. So,
okay.
I mean, they do a good job of throwing little things in there like that.
I will say, even though I do completely agree with you on that they probably just quickly rushed this out, or maybe it's a first-time designer and they were giving him a shot. If I don't know who Caleb Grace is, so maybe
Never heard of that guy.
Maybe this is his. Look him up. Because if this is his first game he's designed, he did a great job.
He took from stuff. He borrowed. You could tell he bought what he borrowed from.
There are enough cards in here, so at least one thing that they did do is they didn't. You don't see all the cards because we didn't see the Millennium Falcon, we didn't see Han, we didn't see Chirrut Imwe. There's a Millennium Falcon, literally the top card of our market this time. Oh, that one's really good. Add a unique unit from your discard pile to your hand. Oh, and see, this is stuff that's cool. Like, reward for destroying the Millennium... Purchase a card of your faction for free. That's worth being like, I'm going to destroy the Millennium Falcon. But a lot of my play style for destroying stuff is I don't gain anything from being like, I'm just making sure you don't get it. I find that being just...
So
entire time.
So Caleb Grace... he's an FFG guy.
An old FFG guy.
He is currently the lead developer for the Lord of the Rings card game.
Okay.
And he worked on Marvel Champions, and then he has this.
Oh, well, okay.
So this must have been just like
his own thing, because he's not the designer of Marvel Champions.
No, he probably just helped with some of the heroes or something, or whatever.
If this game gets 2 expand, I think there's the bones are here to do a lot of cool combo stuff, more planets, unique, really but I think as is, I'm still gonna leave it as a 6.
Yeah.
If someone were to be like, hey, you want to play? I'd be like, sure. Maybe it'd be a 7 if I was if I had a hard on for everything Star Wars, but I don't because I'm an adult. Anyway, you got anything else?
Nope.
Well, that's our thoughts on Star Wars deck building game. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.